The Seismic 7, Chapter 18, Part 1. We race through the park. My feet are covered in ash. My jumpsuit is covered in ash. Everything is covered in ash now. We've all torn strips of material off our sleeves to tie around our heads and cover our mouths. Our goal? Find some place with internet. As fast as we can. We are on a proper trail now, speeding down the hills. Last time we found a trail, we found a ranger station. If we follow this, we may be lucky a second time around. Though last time, that was all part of Miss McNamara's plan. We just need to get somewhere with Wi-Fi, or data coverage, or computers, or something. Of course we had to be in the middle of nowhere for a cataclysmic disaster. The movies always have them in New York City. There's tons of Wi-Fi there. We reach the end of one trail and find it connects to an even larger one. That trail leads directly toward the beastly eruption, but if that's the most likely direction to signs of civilization, even abandoned civilization at this point, then that's our best bet. Come on, I say, gesturing. The 7 of us turn and continue on our way, desperately searching the skies for more helicopters as we go. I realize this must be all over the news by now. My parents are probably worried sick, and they don't even know the half of it. All they know is that I'm in Yellowstone. I think the last place I told them we were visiting was Sheep Eater Cliff, which luckily is pretty far away from the eruption site, so maybe they are hopeful that I'm okay. Aunt Pauline said that was the hardest part of working the LA cleanup. All the families clustered around praying each day that the cleanup crews would uncover their loved ones, miraculously safe and sound. I shudder. Then I glance at Raquel and Eddie. With the timing of their kidnapping, their families must think Raquel and Eddie were lost to the quake. There are just so many reasons why we need to find a way to get in touch with the rest of the world. Whoa, look, Kinsey says. We turn. Off to the side, across some distance, I see what appears to be a field of large boulders, slowly moving away from us. But they aren't boulders. They're bison, covered in ash. I come to a complete stop. Oh, I say softly. I don't know why, but at the sight of them, I start to cry. Hey, Raquel says, putting a hand on my shoulder. In the distance, the bison continue to lumber away. One shakes itself and a cloud poofs out around it. It's okay, look, they're alive. I know, I say, wiping at my face. There are gray streaks on my hands from the ash. I don't know why I'm crying. I'm sorry. Gosh, if anyone deserves to break down and cry, it's Raquel. Here I am, doing it twice in one day. Don't apologize, Raquel says. Bison continue onward, moving away from the eruption and on to unknown territory. Yellowstone isn't safe anymore. Sorry, I whisper again to the bison and to a lot more. Come on, Raquel tugs on my shoulder. I let her direct my tired feet back to the group. Just as we are nearly caught up with everyone else, the ground starts to shake again. This had happened a lot today, and each time I'm convinced it's the last and we're going to die. This time, I might be right. Look out, Eddie yells. The rumble grows louder and the ground splits in front of us. Jets of steaming water come rushing out, hissing like a chorus of furious cats with scalding claws. I grab for Raquel and we cling to each other as we attempt to flee. We're not fast enough. The geyser spray falls down on us. My skin prickles into instant blisters, and the ash below me goes so slick that I slip and fall onto my face. Raquel topples next to me. The pain sears. Scrambling desperately, we get back on our feet and join Wyatt and Eddie in racing away from the burning jets. Shards of glass sting my cheek from where it hit the ground. My palms feel like they're on fire, though I know it's also must just be the microscopic glass embedded in them, too. Holy moly, Kinsey screams. Once we're all far enough away, the crack in the ground continues to sputter. Then it splits wider and another burst of water sprays upward. We all clutch one another, catching our breath out of range of the worst of it. I can see the back of my hands turn red and spots and streaks from where the geyser got me. Guess we should watch where we're going, Nolan says. think we all want to laugh at that, but we're still trembling too hard to do so. The sizzling fountain continues to blast in front of us. Water jumps several feet in the air jerkily with no predictable pattern. Todd sighs. We need to keep going. I did my project on geysers. I'll walk up in front and try to pick safe paths. Eddie looks at him sharply. Todd, I say, my eyebrows pinching, that's a dangerous place to be. Someone has to be in front, he counters. I can't really argue with that. Raquel looks like she's going to try, but stops, instead going back to take the rear of the lineup. If you're going first, I'll go with you. Eddie leaves Nolan's side and walks up to join Todd. You should stay behind me, Todd says. I know what to look for. Dr. Greer had us memorize warning signs for this stuff after all the accidents, Eddie says. If you miss something, I can pull us back. I won't miss anything, Todd retorts. Then I won't need to pull us back, Eddie replies. I watch, holding my breath, but Todd doesn't argue any further. Maybe he's tired, or maybe he's finally growing up a little. Whatever the case, he and Eddie walk ahead of us, a few awkward paces apart from each other. Kinsey drops back near Raquel, and I stay near Nolan and Wyatt. Nolan's ferrets are still hidden in the pocket of his sweatshirt. Perhaps they understand the nightmare we're in. I try not to be jealous of them. I wish I could hide and have someone carry me out of this. We continue through the grassy meadows, which are all covered in ash, like an awful gray-brown snow. A couple of times, off in the distance, we see new geysers erupt. Todd and Eddie do manage to keep us away from any areas where that's happening. Instead, we continue toward the worst danger visible, the giant, billowing eruption. I move my tongue around in my mouth. Makeshift mask or no, my saliva feels like paste. I'm rapidly dehydrating, and my eyes that had been damp with stinging tears now feel like their lids are made of sandpaper. But then, through the pain, I see some lights. I squint at the pinpricks in the distance, hardly daring to believe it. Cars! Eddie points. Oh my goodness, cars! We're saved! Todd nearly collapses in relief. Hope roars back into existence. Sure enough, far, far up ahead, we're approaching a road. A real road with real cars. A giant lineup of them, exiting the park in a slow crawl. They look like ants from here, but we all cheer anyway. I never knew the sight of a traffic jam could make me this happy. Oh, yes, let's go, Kinsey says. Wait, Wyatt says. Look, there. He points. It gets even better. Down, not far from us, there's a building. It looks like a much bigger style of the ranger station we visited in the woods. This one probably has modern stuff like phones and bathrooms. We can call for help there, Eddie says, and then we can go catch a ride with all those cars and get the heck out of here. Yes and yes, I say. Everyone else agrees too. Eddie leads the way and we all pick up the pace. Tiny ash clouds kicking up around our feet as we walk. Todd jogs up close to Eddie, still keeping his eyes peeled for danger. There's an intense wind as we near the structure. Ash blows sideways into us now. We reach the building and Todd flings the door open. Hello? He calls out as we all pile in. No one's inside. Maybe the park rangers have evacuated already. Look for phones, computers, anything, Raquel directs, pulling down the strip of cloth she'd been using to cover her mouth from the smoke. There's a sink over here, Wyatt says. Water is almost as thrilling a prospect as communication right now. I head his way until something catches my eye. And a router, I shout, climbing up on a chair to get at the device held up in the corner of the room. I look all over it trying to find a label with its password. Not finding anything, I can only hope it's public Wi-Fi. Pull the backpack off, still standing on the chair, and power up Nolan's tablet. Great, Raquel says. Let's hurry and get some internet going. Kinsey, I call, handing her the tablet. Do your thing. Kinsey darts over, wiping her dusty hands on a chair cushion, and takes the tablet. Child locks, meet your match, she says. I have no doubt that they have. Hey, guys, over here, Nolan says. He's behind the information desk. I climb off the chair and run over. There's a desktop computer. And here's a phone, he says, pointing to his right on a wooden console. I'm calling home, Eddie declares, rushing over. Me too, Todd says. Not before me and Raquel, Eddie shoulders Todd back as he tries to line up next to him and Nolan. Our families think we're dead. All our families probably think we're dead right now, Kinsey snorts, not even looking up from the tablet. But yeah, if anyone gets dibs on calling first, it's you and Raquel. Wait, Raquel puts a hand over the phone just before Eddie can pick up. What? He asks, startled. Raquel's shoulders slump. I don't think I can call my mom and tell her I survived the earthquake, and then break her heart all over again by telling her where I am now. And if you call your parents, then they'll call mine. Eddie's eyes narrow, moving her hand aside and picking up the phone anyway. So wait, you don't want either of us to call home? Raquel inhales slowly. No. I watch the conversation carefully, not daring to say anything. We're all silent as Eddie and Raquel stare each other down. I can almost see Eddie's bloodshot eyes get redder by the moment. Eventually, slowly, like it's physically paining him, he sets the phone down. Nolan? Raquel turns to face the other kid who's been missing from his home for months. What about you? Nolan shakes his head. The three of them step closer together and a lump of emotion in my throat thickens. They're not here because they were fooled or tricked. They're here because Greer and McNamara thought the world wouldn't notice if they disappeared. That few people would care to search for them for one reason or another. That they would be easy to steal away, either because of where they're from, who they're related to, or what disaster concealed their kidnapping. And now they're choosing not to get in touch with the people who would care the most about where they are, all because they don't want to hurt their loved ones worse than they've already been hurt.